Hello, everybody.
I have Brett Crandall and Miranda Bailey Quick turn their screens on, please.
This is Brett from District Court.
Thank you. We're here on 3 felony matters. I believe there are probation violation hearings on one. And felony status review on a couple others. Last time, my memory is last time we were here, Ms. Bailey Quick, you asked for an opportunity to apply for drug court for your client. What's the status of that?
My client had the wrong phone number. He inadvertently transposed the last 2 numbers. He was unable to meet with Mr. Hamlin on Friday last week. I was unable to get him any arrangements to have a substance abuse evaluation by today. He is, however, set for a substance abuse evaluation on next Friday at 1 p.m. That was the soonest I could get him in or scheduled. At this point, it's my understanding that in essence, I believe Mr. Hamlin indicated to Mr. Crandall he just wants the court to decide whether he should pursue it or not. And if that's the case, my client willing to just waive preliminary exam and move forward.
Where's your client at physically?
He lives in Johannesburg, Your Honor.
So why wasn't he at the courthouse at 8 a.m. on Friday last week?
He was working.
Well, gee,
sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to say he asked me specially to make an exception for him, and we gave him a day to get there. He was told to appear at 8 a.m. and then he's going to say he's got to go to work.
Well, right after the hearing, he spoke to his boss, and his boss said, if you're not here tomorrow, then you essentially are losing your job. So he tried getting a hold of Mr. Hamlin to reschedule. His boss said he needed more than 12 hours notice, and he wasn't able to reach Mr. Hamlin. He left a voicemail, called back again, left another voicemail. It wasn't until today that he figured out with my office that he transposed the last 2 numbers.
How's he going to do drug court if he can't get off work?
Well, we've talked about that at length. It was just a matter of the short notice between 3 o'clock last Thursday and needing to be there at 8 a.m.
I think you can tell by my demeanor that I'm not exactly pleased. Why should I give Mr. Crandall a 4th bite at the apple?
Well, I don't really have a response for that, Your Honor. I will just tell you from a practitioner standpoint, this has been the most frustrating process that I've dealt with, frankly, with any court. Trying to just get and I sit as the defense team member for Veterans Court in Mount Morency County. And I have struggled even trying to figure out what the process is. We were asked to do one thing. I scrambled trying to call in favors to get a substance abuse evaluation. Had I known 3 months ago that he needed the substance abuse evaluation before he met with, or contemporaneous with when he met with Mr. Hamlin, I would have had him do that immediately. This, again, has been the most frustrating process for me, even as a practitioner.
When did you start in the case, Ms. Bailey Quick?
From the beginning, Your Honor. I think he appeared at arraignment by himself, and ever since then, I've been in the case.
This, as far as I can show, the original interview was scheduled for November 8th of last year. Are you trying to tell me you can't figure it out since then? How much
I'm not
time?
trying to lay or point blame anywhere. I think at this point, my client is willing to forego it. It was certainly something he was entertaining and wanted to participate in, but again, I myself have left messages. I've reached out to prosecutors. Again, this has been extremely frustrating for me even. So I will take the fault for it, but at this point, I don't have an answer for the court.
I'm sorry, you misunderstood my area of inquiry. I'm not looking for somebody to blame. I apologize if that was the response that you took from that. I'm trying to assess whether or not Mr. Crandall is going to be able to make it through the drug court process, because quite frankly, it is by definition a huge inconvenience. That is almost the sole purpose of being in drug court, is to inconvenience you to the point where you change your behavior. That is exactly what it's designed to do. So if we have inconveniences getting in the way now, it's sometimes better to just realize that isn't going to work and he may not be a good candidate for it. And that's kind of what I'm trying to assess at this point. So I'm not trying to point fingers and say somebody did something wrong. I'm just trying to figure out if this is going to be too much for him. We might as well say that now. And so it sounds like that's where he's at. Am I correct with that, Ms. Bailey Quick?
I would defer to Mr. Crandall.
Mr. Crandall, do you want one more crack at this or not?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm willing to meet with Luke and have my interview. I have no excuse. That's completely on me. I had his phone number mixed up and was unable to speak with him until today. And
well, we're not going to do phone numbers anymore then. So we're not going to do phone numbers. You're going to have to come here in person when he says he wants you here. And quite frankly, you're going to have to get off work to do that, most likely. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Hamlin, when would it be convenient for you to do this assessment and evaluation?
Judge, there's a couple of things here. It makes it a little bit difficult. He did call earlier today. My best day would be tomorrow. However, he's got to leave town and go to Detroit for a funeral. I understand unexpected circumstances do happen, and I do try to arrange my schedule to the best of my ability. But given next week we have drug court on Tuesday, the best option I have is, Friday the 31st again. It would be at 8 o'clock. And then we don't have another drug court until February 11th. So I leave it at the court's discretion with what to do with the matter of this case, because we are pushing limits, in my opinion.
No, I get it that we're pushing limits. And is Friday, February the 7th open for you, Mr. Hamlin?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Crandall, that gives you almost 2 weeks to get the time off to be there in person at 8 a.m. on Friday the 7th. Can you do that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Bailey Quick, when is his assessment, his substance abuse assessment?
The 31st at 1 p.m.
So he could have that in hand when he spoke with Mr. Hamlin?
I can certainly ask the evaluator to have that to me it usually takes a couple days after, but I mean, I know they usually ask for longer than even a couple days, but I can ask to have it by the 4th at the latest.
Well, he'd have until the 6th, Thursday.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Hamlin, do you need that or do you want that information?
Well, I would need that before court produces sentence, Your Honor. So I would, if I could get him here on Friday the 31st for an interview, then he can maneuver around with his assessment requirements, and I'll be able to get everything ready for the court on February 11th in no time.
Can we do that, Mr. Crandall?
Yes, Your Honor.
The 31st at 8 a.m.?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, it's a deal. Just know this, you're on a short leash. Don't be asking for special favors. Don't be looking for special things to be done. This is on you. Got it?
I understand.
All right, for today's purposes, Ms. Bailey Quick, are you looking to waive preliminary examination still, or what is your pleasure?
Well, if he's going to be considered for treatment court, then we would remain in district court, is my understanding.
Mr. Hamlin, how do we typically deal with this? Just adjourn it and see what the assessment is and whether he's going to get in or not, and then come back and put the agreement on the record?
Yeah, I can say that, and I would also stipulate to you that if time does determine certain arguments, we could possibly put him on some sort of bond conditions, but that would all be to be determined. And I'd also request the court, Your Honor, that he gets a hold of Jessica Van Wolfen with Community Corrections too.
Your Honor, I did attempt to contact Mr. Crandall on the 17th and the 21st. The phone number that I still have back from when we spoke in November, which was the first time that we had spoke about drug court, and I sent the referral to Catholic Human Services for the assessment back on 11/7, I believe it was. So the referral was sent, it was just not followed up with a phone call, so.
Thank you, Ms. Van Wolfen.
You're welcome.
Mr. Crandall, do you have a way to get a hold of Ms. Van Wolfen right now?
Yes, sir.
All right.
What is that number?
Yeah, could I get that number?
It's 989.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Bailey Quick, as to file 42542, that's a misdemeanor case. It's set for a probation violation. I'm assuming you just want to adjourn that. Is that correct?
Yes, please.
All right, that's what we'll do in that file. In 43076 FY, you want me to just set it out for, we got 3 weeks for the drug court assessment, and we would have to wait. I don't know, I believe he's probably already waived the 21-day rule, but if not, he would have to do that. Is that what you'd like to do?
Yeah, so you're looking at the 13th?
I believe so, yes.
That would be fine. And he has waived the 21-day rule.
All right, so I'm just going to adjourn that. Mr. Crandall, you understand that you have an absolute right to have a preliminary examination. Typically, you'd have the right to have that within 21 days, but to allow us to have time to make this assessment, we'd have to go outside that time period. Is that with your permission?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's what we'll do then.
Your Honor, is that also right at 1:30? I asked because I'm scheduled for an all-day seminar on that day, but I'll step out for that.
Yeah, typically we would do those at 1:30.
Okay.
And I'll try to have staff remind me to take your case first so that you can get in and out quickly. We may be able to do that a few minutes before that if that assists in your time schedule.
That would be great. We resume at 1:30, so that would be great if possible.
I'll have staff try to remind me to be in here by 1:15 or 1:20, and we'll take care of it then.
Thank you.
And then as to file 42866, again, felony status conference. I'm assuming you want to do the same thing we just did in the last case, which is adjourn it for the drug court referral.
Yes, please.
All right, that's what we'll do. Don't let me down, Mr. Crandall.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank
Good
you.
luck to you. Yep. Thank you, Mr. Hamlin.
Thank you, Judge.
Throw that in that file.
Be safe, be well, sleep sweet, and much love.